You've probably had a conversation you can't remember having. A nurse asked you to count backward. You got to 8, maybe 9. Then nothing. Not darkness, not sleep, nothing the way nothing doesn't even mean anything until you try to define it. And when you woke up, someone else's voice was already mid-sentence, like no time had passed at all. Most people shrug that off. You didn't. Ask most people what happens under anesthesia, and they'll tell you the same story. You go to sleep, then you wake up. That's it for them. Convenient. Closed. They never asked what you even means in the sentence, you go to sleep. Because for them, the question ends where the discomfort begins. You've been called overthinking. Maybe intense. The kind of person who ruins a dinner party by asking what everyone else silently agreed not to ask. And they're not wrong that you do it, you do. Researcher George Masur at the University of Michigan has spent years studying what actually happens to consciousness under anesthesia. And one of his findings is unsettling even to specialists in the field. The drugs don't erase brain activity. They sever the connections between regions, the connections that let separate signals become one continuous experience called you. Most people hear that once and move on with their day. You're still thinking about it. That gap should scare you. For most people, it does enough that they never look directly at it. Emery Brown, who researches the neuroscience of anesthesia at MIT and Harvard, found that general anesthesia isn't sleep at all. It's closer to a controlled reversible coma, a state the brain doesn't casually drift into or out of. Most people would rather not know that. You wanted to know exactly that. One man learned this about himself the hard way in a pre-op room, minutes before a routine surgery. The anesthesiologist ran through the usual checklist. He stopped her and asked one question nobody else in that ward had asked all week. When I go under, is there any version of me still in here? She paused. Then she gave him an honest answer instead of a scripted one. He doesn't remember what she said next, but he remembers that she looked at him differently after he asked it. So sit with this for a second. If there really is no you in that gap, no thoughts, no time, nothing watching, then what exactly wakes up on the other side? Is it really you continuing, or is it something built fresh from your memories, convinced it never left? If this is the first time someone put language to a question you've been sitting with alone, follow. There's more where this came from. People around you might call this dark, morbid even. That's their read, not the full picture. Minds that go quiet easily, that accept the surface answer, don't usually stay with a question like this long enough to feel its weight. Yours does. That's not anxiety. That's a mind that refuses to close a file just because closing it would be more comfortable. Somewhere in that gap, the one with no time, no thought, nothing watching, you already knew something most people spend their whole life avoiding. Not knowing isn't the same as not existing. Have you ever actually asked your anesthesiologist that question? Tell me what they said. And if you know someone who's never once wondered where they went, send them this.